So you know how the temperature is dropping, things are getting cooler, and you just want one of them warm belly grilled cheese sandwiches, but you're trying to do a keto or carnivore diet? Well, today we're going to take care of that desire. We're going to make some keto bread or some carnivore bread. That's right, no flour, no nothing, and we're going to make us up some grilled cheese. Now, to make the bread, believe it or not, the main ingredients in it will be about 4 cups of pork rinds and about 4 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese. That's right, no flour, so that way those who are gluten intolerant, hey, this works for you too. With that, we're gonna use about a half a cup of Greek yogurt. Now, I'm gonna use actually the 000 vanilla flavored. Gives it a little something else to go with it. And from our half a cup of that, we're gonna do 6 eggs. Now in this case, my ducks are actually laying more than my chickens right now for some reason. So I've got 3 duck and 1 chicken. That equates to about 6 regular chicken eggs. 2 tablespoons of baking powder, and of course, cheddar cheese to go in the grilled cheese sandwich. I'm telling you, it sounds kind of funky to think of bread as being pork rinds, but it actually tastes like a really good buttered bread. It messes with your head at the end of the day. So let's go ahead and get started with mixing some ingredients. And by the way, welcome to Bigfoot Cooking. Now to start this party, we'll begin by turning our pork rinds into dust or powder or whatever you want to call it. Basically, you're kind of making it look like panko. So let's load it up and pull the trigger. Believe it or not, it takes a lot of pork rinds to kind of blend down to get you 4 cups of, I don't know, shredded, diced crumb. There we go. To get you 4 cups of pork rind crumbs. So we got it loaded. Let's see what happens after a few pulses. All right, that's got us about 2.5 cups. Let's load it up again. All right, there we go. 4 cups of pork rinds and 1 empty container. Now let's shred up the cheese and get it ready. Now you can grate this by hand, of course, but you know, I've got this thing sitting in the corner, so why not pull it out and let's destroy some cheese, easy style. 4 cups of cheese in under 30 seconds. I like it. So now we got these guys done. Let's go ahead and get the eggs and the liquid part ready. All right, for this part, nothing too crazy. We're just gonna crack a few eggs. Boy, the chicken egg just feels so little after cracking all the duck eggs. Now remember, save these for the garden because they work out great for that. Now you could mix all this up with a whisk, but that's just one more thing to wash. So we'll let this guy go for a minute until we get this all homogeneous. Fancy word of the day, homogeneous. All right, we ain't asking for nothing fancy here, just a whole bunch of mixed up eggs. Now, it's time for the yogurt. Again, the recipe I found calls for a half a cup of yogurt, but to be honest, even though this is slightly more, well, it works out close enough that nobody knows and the recipe still tastes good. So we'll add both of these in here. I mean, I guess if you're picky or, you know, want to follow things to the letter, okay, so you take a bite or 2 of the yogurt when you get it out. Meh. Some things are really exact in measurements. Recipes like this, close enough is close enough. Now let's give this a swirl. Now make sure you keep this on low because we're not trying to whip it. We're not trying to make any kind of topping or anything. You're just trying to get this into a almost custard look. Now, you can do either one of these first, but for me, I prefer to add in the pork rinds first since we've got the most liquid in here now. Let's add the driest thing. Let's see. You know, sometimes trying to do this for a camera is a little trickier than just dumping it, you know, when you're normal cooking. So we will apply all our pork rinds. Kind of looks like graham crackers. Give that a little swirl around the world. You know, it's funny too, as it's going around, I hear there's 1 or 2 pork rinds that didn't quite get mixed up, and you're hearing it crunch, crunch, crunch against the side. Makes the batter even better. Now we got that mixed in. Time to give all the cheese 1 shot. Whoop. Oh. Dang, I don't even get to charge a cheese tax this time because I need it for the recipe. Drop that in, lock and twist. Now right here, when I'm getting toward the end, this is where I'm gonna add my baking powder to it. So that way it doesn't pre-activate too soon and start swelling before we're ready to put it in the pie pan. So now, a good mix. And there we have your bread dough, I guess you'd say, since it kind of is a bread dough. So now let's prep the pan and get it ready to pop it in the oven. Now from here, we're gonna set it in this bread pan. And of course, you don't want nothing to stick, even though it probably wouldn't, honestly, with all the fats and everything that we've got in here. But I don't know, little pan lube, I figure doesn't hurt. It's called insurance, right? Just give it a little bath, nothing too crazy. And then to make it even easier to get out, now silicone mold, you take care of all this problem, but nothing like insurance. We're gonna take and set a piece of parchment paper right down in here, set it just like so, and we're even gonna paint it a little bit. Now from here, well, let's just make it fit. Now, while I'm not gonna like pack it in here, I am gonna kind of mash it down so that way everything touches everything and we don't have any giant air bubbles or holes or what have you in the bread. We're not making donuts here. We're trying to make a loaf of bread. All right, and like you see, we pretty well filled this mold up pretty solid. Now, the question is, how much do we rise as we bake? Well, let's find out. I've got the oven already warmed up to 450, so we're gonna slide this thing in. Now for me, because I played around with this a little bit, 35 minutes seems to be about the right recipe. I've heard 30, I've heard 40. So, you know, figure out what works for your oven. You can always use the toothpick method where you slide it in, and if it comes out gummy, leave it alone. And yes, as you bake, this will darken. It'll almost look burnt, but it literally is just the outside edge of the bread. The inside, oh, it is so buttery good. So now, let's put it in a hot box and let's go find something to do for 35 minutes.
So today we're going to learn something sciencey. Can you tell the difference between baking powder and baking soda? Ha! I got you on this one. But there is a test. It's really simple. You know the volcano from school where you mix things up and it erupts everywhere? It's kind of like that. To start this test, we're going to begin with vinegar. We're going to take just a little bit of vinegar and add to both of them, and let's see what happens. We'll start by putting just a little here in bowl X. Give it a little mix. Well, see how we have bubbles popping right up? We definitely have a reaction there. Now let's take a tablespoon and put it into bowl Y. We also have a reaction in this one. So what's the difference so far? We've tested them both with vinegar, and we know that vinegar reacts with both of them. So unfortunately, we still don't know. So now let's repeat this test using water. We'll just pick up a tablespoon of water here and add to our second bowl X, and let's see what happens here. Notice we've got fuzzies growing here. Now what if we try this in second bowl Y? We'll just pour a little in here and give it a quick mix about. Nothing. Tell you what, let's add some more. Still nothing. Why is that? Because baking soda requires an acid to react. That's how it produces carbon dioxide. Since there's no acid in water, well, it just lays there. Whereas the first experiment reacted wildly because it was mixed with vinegar. And what's the magic inside of baking powder? It's 1 part baking soda, 1 part cornstarch, and 2 parts cream of tartar. The cream of tartar is what reacts when it gets wet. That's why there's a difference in baking powder and baking soda. Now you know. Class dismissed.
All right, we have ourselves a baked and cool. That's the biggest thing. I actually gave it time to cool down. I had to do a couple of errands, so we have ourselves our loaf of bread. Sorry, we'll just peel this guy off. And like you see, you've got kind of a dark exterior to it, and it is a dense loaf, but it is a loaf of bread. So we'll drop her in the bread slicer here. Get on in there. Now, because I don't really want to burnt in, I've got it on the skinniest setting. Let's see, we'll trim the end of it off here. And as you can see inside, looks kind of like bread. not too bad. And honestly, it is real, like I say, you wouldn't think pork rinds would taste like buttered bread, but it does. Now the ends on it, like I say, because it's nothing but crust, it is a bit chewy, but we're gonna move from our thin settings up to our normal slices of bread. And well, let's make the bread for our grilled cheese, because I ain't gonna lie, I've been craving this thing since we started. All right, we'll take our loaf that we've got finished with and pull this guy out. And as you can see, we have us 4 nice pieces of grilled cheese receptacles. Whoa. And now it's time to cut the cheese. Let's see, let's cut us 2 nice big old thick pieces of cheese here. One right there. And one right there. Ooh, this is gonna be a good snack. Matter of fact, I think I need 1 slice for snacking purposes. All right, time to get the flame on. Let's go ahead and fire this bad boy up. Woo, heat. We'll set it to about medium. Put this guy on here. Grab a little bit of tallow, AKA pan lube, because we don't want nothing to stick. Oh no, we want the best grilled cheese possible. I mean, this is close to as cheating on a carnivore diet as you can get. Pan lube is all melted in. Let's go ahead and set these guys in here. Ooh. Got just a little bit of sizzling pop to them. We'll give it a few minutes to get a good toasty on one side and flip it together, and oh, we have grilled cheese. Now, you don't have to leave the cheese sitting on here, but well, it helps get it all ooey gooey. And if you wanted, you could go ahead and assemble them if you really want to go crazy, put them together and then slow cook it side to side. There really isn't any hard, fast laws for making grilled cheese other than somewhat of a bread. Yeah, it's fake bread. Somewhat of a bread and some heat and some happy, happy tummies. Ain't that little purty right there? Got the real deal toast look to it. I mean, you gotta admit, that right there looks just like toast. This actually, you know, you wouldn't think pork rinds would come out right. Well, it does. All right, we will turn off our gas, pull these guys off. Whew. 1 unit, the cheese is stuck to them and everything. All right, now let's slice into this thing. Oh yeah, time to peek inside and see the cheese pull. Ooh, look at that. And now, most importantly, the cheese taste. Oh yeah, this satisfies all those little cravings you might get while you're doing your keto carnivore. This is some really, really good stuff. And just to think, pork rinds and some vanilla yogurt and mozzarella doesn't taste like the ingredients together don't taste anything like the ingredients apart. This is actually really good. Now, the bread tastes a lot better warm than it does cold. It brings out more of the butter flavor when it's warm. But as far as an overall something to eat, yeah, pretty daggone solid stuff. So next time, y'all remember, this works really good and that Bigfoot is real. See ya. All right, now from here, we're gonna set her in a bear. Now, you could mix it. All right, for this part, cuckoo, we're making acorns fall down. Holy cow. I don't know about you, but we have more acorns this year than ever before.